Hi everyone, welcome to Linden Hill Farmstead, where my husband Adam and I share from scratch skills for everyday life. It's midwinter here in Pennsylvania, which means it's cold. This year we have had some weeks when temperatures were down below zero. Recently, overnight temps have gone down to about -8, and the real feel has been in the negative teens. Thankfully, the animals have been snug and warm, and some of them privileged being inside with us, and all of us are just hunkering down. As for me, I've been using this slower winter time to improve my cheese making skills, and that's because this spring the final animal on my wish list will be coming to the farmstead. Meet Misty, our family milk cow. So excited. She'll be at her current home for a few more weeks until we can get her little habitat ready here on the farmstead. But with Misty coming, and coming while she is in milk, it's time to get serious about all the milk that will be coming in. Now, I've been making cheese for over 10 years, but I haven't been doing it regularly. So right now, before the deluge of milk comes into my kitchen, I'm honing my skills in smaller amounts. So let's get started. Today, I'm using a recipe from Ricky Carroll's home cheesemaking book. I have the 3rd edition, but I believe they've updated it even since I got mine years ago, so they've got more pictures and everything if you are getting yours new. And I'll be using the large curd cottage cheese recipe. I've tried the small curd cottage cheese recipe before, and the curds just felt a little bit too small for our liking, so I'm trying this one today. For smaller batches of cheese, I use our all-clad 12-quart stock pot. It's a heavy bottom pot, so food we cook in it won't scorch easily. You can scorch things in a heavy stock pot, by the way. We've done it, but that was 100% user error, aka forgetfulness. To stir, just keep stirring and you'll be okay. And it's also great for dispersing heat evenly. I'm just adding a gallon of plain old store-bought whole milk while my son tries to get in on the action. Next, I have a ThermPro Instant Read digital thermometer. You don't have to have this exact thermometer or this exact pot, but just in case you're interested in checking them out, I'll link all these items in the description for you. You can use any thermometer, but there are 3 reasons I love this one. 1, because the probe is long enough to get all the way down to the level of even 1 gallon of milk in this slightly taller pot. 2, it comes with a clip, so I don't have to hold it while stirring with my other hand, and it instantly shows me exactly what temperature I'm at so I can be more consistent with my cheese making. Now to add a couple of ingredients. Technically, these are supposed to be added to milk at 72 degrees for this recipe instead of milk that just came out of the fridge, but oopsie, moving on. Just be aware that you're supposed to heat the milk to 72 degrees before you start adding stuff. That was my mistake, but honestly, it's okay. Moving on. First ingredient added to the milk, calcium chloride. This is for when we're using store-bought milk, aka milk that has been pasteurized and homogenized. Why do we use it? To restore the calcium balance that has been upset by the heat treating of milk during the pasteurization and homogenation process. Calcium helps to ensure our curds firm up, and if the calcium has been damaged, we're going to end up with super soft curds and not very good yields. Everything's going to kind of fall apart. So, to restore the damaged calcium and ensure we have firm curds to work with, we add calcium chloride. To do this, we dilute a tiny bit of it in a 1/4 cup of water. I have not tested out the world of collaboraculture yet, and that is a big yet because I plan to. So I'm currently using freeze-dried cultures, which works great too. For cottage cheese, we're using 1 packet of mesophilic starter culture. I got mine from New England Cheesemaking Supply, where I've gotten a decent amount of my cheesemaking supplies up to this point. I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that. I just really appreciate their company. To add this, just sprinkle it in and mix the whole packet. Now to dilute a 1/4 teaspoon of rennet in another 1/4 cup of cool unchlorinated water. Rennet is what solidifies or coagulates the milk into curds and separates it from the whey. I use animal rennet. You can use that, or I've also heard of vegetable rennet if you would prefer to use vegetable rennet. And apparently I'm supposed to just add 1 tablespoon of the diluted rennet mixture to my cheese pot, but not this time. You get to watch me totally miss that part and dump the whole 1/4 cup in. Did it turn out fine? Yes. Did we eat it? Yep. Will I remember this next time? Hopefully. Notice that we're up to a couple of mistakes so far, and it still turns out fine, especially when it's just for practice and it's just my family eating it, and it's really, really okay. It tasted great. And you'll notice how I stir the ingredients into the milk. So especially when it comes to rennet and starter culture, you want to kind of be careful about how you stir things in. It's not a huge deal, but you don't want to be vicious about it. So be gentle when you stir it in. Do it more of an up and down motion and get those little swirlies in the water rather than introducing air bubbles into your milk. And when you add rennet, it starts to go to work immediately. So once you stir it in, you kind of want to stop the movement of the liquid of the milk before you close the pot. So that is what I'm doing. I am just stopping the motion of the milk so that the rennet can get to work immediately. Now let it all sit at 72 degrees Fahrenheit for 4 to 8 hours or until the curd firms up. Check for a clean break so the curds actually cut well. For the first time that I checked this, definitely not a clean break. Second time, we're good. Now we can cut the curd. Cut it into a grid pattern as you would any other cheese, and for large curd cottage cheese, we're going to do 1/2 inch curds. The grid pattern kind of goes like straight across as you'll see me do, and then in a grid pattern across the other direction, and then I also cut at a 45-degree angle under the surface of the curds so that we can get them more into cubes rather than into big long strips. So you want to go 45 degrees in one direction and then turn the pot and do 45 degrees in the other direction, and you'll see me do that here. Then allow them to set or heal for 10-ish minutes so the curds can toughen up a bit before we start stirring them. Best method for stirring is a good clean hand. You literally get in touch with the curds and you learn better this way how to feel for texture and hot spots. And also, for short people like me, a stool is clutch. Get yourself one, even if it's just so your shoulder doesn't get tired of reaching up over the rim of your cheese pot. I highly recommend it and you won't regret it. Okay, we're going to start raising the temperature by 2 degrees every 5 minutes until we hit 80 degrees. You don't want to heat too fast and have those little curd babies cook too rapidly, trapping all the moisture inside or releasing too much whey too quickly. If the math is mathing, I should hit 80 degrees in about 20-ish minutes. While I'm doing this, I'm breaking up any curds that are bigger than the average size, which is kind of fun. You kind of cut them in half with your finger because it's really that easy. So you just kind of squish them so that they chop themselves in half and make them the same size as much as you possibly can so that they all cook really evenly. And I'm stirring really gently, and stirring is just to make sure that the curds don't mat or clump together in the bottom of the pot. Once we reach 80 degrees, increase the heat by 3 degrees every 5 minutes until the temperature reaches 90 degrees. Still stirring super gently to make sure those curds don't mat, and breaking up any curds that are bigger than the average size. Math says now that we should reach 90 degrees in about 15 to 17 minutes. Once we reach 90 degrees, we're cranking it up to 1 degree per minute until we get to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Math tells me that's another 20 minutes, and in cheese making for me, that's an ish, so 20-ish minutes. Once we reach 110 degrees Fahrenheit, we keep it there for 20 minutes. I only have to stir the pot every few minutes now, just to ensure the curds don't decide to mat. We will know the curds are cooked when they don't have a squishy custard-like interior. So I squeeze them and I swipe some taste tests. Yummy. They should feel fairly firm and hold their shape, be slightly rubbery, and make a bit of a squeak between your teeth when you taste one. That's how you know when they're done. When the curds are cooked, let them settle to the bottom of the pot for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes are up, you can pour off the whey. We don't have pigs right now, so I didn't save the whey this time, although I'm sure the chickens would have loved it, well, at least before it froze. Just be careful that you don't get too crazy and let all of your curds escape. Once you pour most of the whey out, you can then pour the curds into a colander lined with cheesecloth. I set mine in a bowl for this video, but a clean sink works great too. Tie off the corners of the cheesecloth if you can, and I struggled with this a little bit this time. Then hang the cheesecloth bag to drain. To hang it, I use a wooden spoon propped up on 2 of my cabinet knobs with another one to protect the cabinets to hold the bag up. And if you'd like, you can wash the curds to make them less tangy. I didn't do it this time, but if you want to, before you actually hang it up, just dip the bag into a bowl of cool water a few times and then tie it up to drain. I think I will try this next time just to see if I can get it a little bit less tangy. Let the bag drain for 5-ish minutes and then rinse it in cold water and let it sit in the colander to drain for another 5 minutes. Did I rinse it? No, I didn't, but next time I probably will give it a try just to reduce the tanginess. I love a good tangy cottage cheese, and it's really not even that much. It's just a little bit different from what the grocery store has, and therefore my kids would prefer it to be a little bit sweeter, which is why I think next time I might try to make it a little bit less tangy so they eat more of it at least, because they like it, they just don't love it yet. Yet is the key word there. After 5 minutes of draining, untie the bag and put the curds in a bowl and break up the pieces. You can even let the kids off camera try some and see what they think. Be prepared, they might not love the taste before the salt especially, but they might love the squeak between their teeth. A really fun thing for kids. Now this part's optional, but you can add heavy cream to the bowl to give it that creamy texture. And I highly recommend that because it's pretty dry otherwise. You may also need to add a little more cream the next day, because I noticed that when I make cottage cheese at home, those little curds get thirsty and drink up the cream overnight. You can also add salt, herbs, whatever you're fancy, whatever you love in your cottage cheese. I just added the cream and salt for this round. And there you have it. You've learned to make cottage cheese at home. Now go do it for real. Learning simple skills is just the beginning. Practicing brings them to life. If you'd like to see more videos like this from our family homestead, hit subscribe and join us for the next adventure.